there, my name is Megan and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag. I did this tag last year and had a lot of fun with it. It consists of 13 questions to kind of go through your reading year for the first half of 2020. And I don't remember exactly who created this tag, but if I can find any sort of origin, I'll go ahead and link it below in the description box. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get on into the questions. Question number 1 is, what is the best book that you have read so far this year? I've only had, I think, 3 5-star reads in the past 6 months, which is insanely unusual. And I'm going to go with Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson, which was my favorite. I do have a full spoiler-free review posted for this, so I'll go ahead and link this up in the cards. But I just love this world. I loved getting immersed in such a unique world and learning about the lore and the history and the characters. And I'm very excited to continue on with the series. Question number 2 is, what is the best sequel that you've read this year? And I'm going to go with Caliban's War by James S.A. Corey. This is the second book in the Expanse series. Believe it or not, I am still thinking about this series, and every time I try to create my TBR for the following month, I'm like, oh, I hope I can read some sci-fi and get to pick up the 3rd book, because I felt like this book really advanced the plot. I felt like everything was explained a little bit more, and I had a much easier time getting into this plot line in this story because I had read the first one, and I just had a lot of fun, and I don't read a ton of space opera, so it's definitely a series that I'm very excited to continue also. Question 3 is a new release in 2020 that you want to read but have not yet read. I'm going to go with Aurora Burning by J. Kristoff and Amie Kaufman. I read Aurora Rising last year, and it was one of my favorite books of 2019. And this book has been released, but my library is still closed, and I got Aurora Rising from my library, and the ebook's not available, nothing's available. So I cannot wait to pick this up as soon as my library reopens. This series for me has a very Guardians of the Galaxy vibe to it, and I loved all of the characters, and I loved their interactions with each other, and the banter was absolutely hilarious. So I'm very excited to finally pick up book 2 when I'm able to. Question number 4 is, what is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year? I just did a whole video on my most anticipated releases for the second half of 2020, and if I had to choose, I'm going to go with The Last Uncharted Sky with Curtis Craddock, which is, I think, book 3 and the final book in the Risen Kingdom series. I've just had such a fun time in this world. It's a world with skyships and floating continents and betrayal and disguises and people going incognito, and it's just so good, and I really enjoy it, and it's such an underrated series. I'm very excited to see how the author ends this series, and book 2 had the setup for a very cool finale. Question number 5 is, what has been your biggest disappointment for 2020? I'm gonna have to go with Middlegame by Seanan McGuire. This is another book that I have a full review of, and it's my first time reading Seanan McGuire, and I wanted to see if she was an author that I would mesh with. And I felt like the concept of this book was just so interesting and really unique, nothing I've ever come across before, but I felt like the execution fell completely flat. For the length of the book, I thought that not enough time was dedicated to explaining the science and, I guess, theology behind everything, and more time was dedicated to the backstory of these 2 characters. And I felt like with such an abstract concept that it really needed to be explained, and it just wasn't. So this book, unfortunately, was really disappointing for me. The next question is, what book was your biggest surprise? And I'm going to go with The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker, because I'm not a contemporary or romance reader, and I really like this book. I actually found myself thinking about it several days after I finished it, and I found myself wanting to revisit this world and Alaska and this atmosphere and even our main characters and their relationship. I found that I really missed it. So definitely a book that took me by surprise. Having said that, the next question is, what is your favorite new author? And I'm going to go with K.A. Tucker because I bought the sequel to The Simple Wild, which is Wild at Heart. Obviously, if I didn't like The Simple Wild and I didn't like K.A. Tucker's writing, then I wouldn't have picked up the sequel. And she's definitely an author that I would give another try with regards to contemporary and or romance, because I enjoyed The Simple Wild so much. Question number 8 is, what is your newest fictional crush? I don't have one. I feel like most of the books I've read this year, a lot of them have been sequels to series that I've already started, and there were no, I guess, characters or fictional crushes in any of those series, so I really could not think of one, and if I just made one up, it would be a mistruth, so I don't want to do that. And Grayson is still playing by my feet, so if you hear him meowing, he wants attention. That's what that is. Question number 9 is, what is your newest favorite fictional character? And I'm going to go with Tamra from Race the Sands. Tamra is our main character, and she is a single mom, and she used to be a rider of these monsters, and now she is a trainer for riders of monsters. And number 1, I felt like single moms aren't really represented that much in fantasy. I can't even think of a fantasy where a single mom has been the main character, but she was just an awesome character. She was determined and kind of no nonsense. She didn't take any crap from anybody. She was very self-sufficient and independent, but at the same time, she was very motherly and nurturing, not only to her child, but to Rhea, who was a teenager who kind of had a bad home life, and she took under her wing. So she had a rough around the edges sort of exterior, but inside she was a sweetheart, and I just really liked reading from her point of view. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry. This is another one I don't have an answer to. I haven't read a book that I found overly emotional yet this year, and I really have never cried tears when reading a book. I have teared up, but I have never actually cried, so this is another one that I do not have an answer for. Question 11 is, what is a book that made you happy? I'm going to go with The Secret Garden by Hodgson Burnett, because this whole book, the theme is all about bringing dead things back to life. We have Mary, our main character, who has never been loved. We have the uncle who has lost a wife and is still in mourning. And then we have Colin, who doesn't know how to be loved by his father. So I absolutely love the themes of revitalization and rejuvenation that were conveyed in this book, and I really like the setting of the garden and all of the animals and growing things and all the description of the sounds and smells and flowers, and it was very spring-like and just put a smile on my face. The next question is, what is the most beautiful book that you have bought or received this year? I'm going to go with Chain of Gold by Cassandra Clare. This is her first book in her newest Shadowhunter series called The Last Hours, and this cover is absolutely gorgeous. I love the girl in the cover in her hair, and there are like filigree type gates in the background, and this edition I got, which I didn't know this until I opened it up, has character art on the inside. I did not purchase this because of the character art. I just saw that it had it when I was flipping through it, so that was a fun surprise as well. And question 13, what is a book that you need to read by the end of the year? That would be Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. I need to finish the Dark Artifices so I can move on to Chain of Gold. Also because I have a couple series from 2019 that I still need to wrap up and I don't want to carry into 2021, and this is one of them. So I am determined to finish the Dark Artifices very soon so I can just move on to her new series and not have to worry about it anymore. Okay, you guys, so that is it for my mid-year book freakout tag. I hope you enjoyed these answers. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of these books or what some of your answers to these prompts would be. If you have not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and do so by clicking that subscribe button as well as the little bell icon so you can be notified every time I post new content. I post new videos every Sunday, and sometimes I post bonus videos in the middle of the week, and I will see you soon with another one. Goodbye.